Full Gospel Evangelistic Center makes an impact locally and beyond through a wide range of events, ministries, and outreaches. Pastors Steve and Debbie Owens invite you to worship Sunday mornings at 10:30 and attend Wednesday night Bible studies at 6:30. Connect with FGEC online, follow them on Facebook, download their app, and visit their new website at myfgec.org with live YouTube video streams as well as recordings of services and special events. Full Gospel Evangelistic Center, 304 North McLean Street in Lincoln. Whether you're buying or selling your home, the brokers of Me Realty will work with you to get the deal done. As one of Central Illinois' top producing offices for decades, Me Realty has the experience to guide you through the process. You want results? Call the brokers of Me Realty at 217-735-5424, stop by the office at 602 Keokuk Street in Lincoln, or check out local listings online at merealty.com.
Culver's is a family restaurant. To me, that means being the place that puts a smile on everyone's face. We're famous for our cooked-to-order butter burgers and frozen custard made daily inside our restaurants. But we've always believed more menu options mean more ways to brighten your day. We source the finest chicken to bring you our tenders and chicken sandwiches. And our cheese curds. They're a Wisconsin tradition we're proud to share with you. So take the next meal shift off and let us take care of you. Welcome to Delicious.
Culver's, home of the Butterburger, 2530 Woodlawn Road in Lincoln. The following is a presentation of WLCN 96.3 FM and WLCNonline.com.
WLCN 96.3 FM, broadcasting live from Jake's Furnishings. You can listen to us on the radio, on the go, on the Mixler app, or watch our live stream on YouTube. Scott Kirby, Joe Ryan, Jake Johnson, Jim Ash. No Lloyd today. No. But we upgraded to Connor Shaw. Yeah. And Joel Vincent in there this morning. Good morning, guys.
Morning.
Well, good morning.
It's a nice sunny Saturday out, starting to warm up, and that's good.
It's a good day to get out and get some yard work done.
You got your pool open yet, Joe?
No. No, but I would think you can get Tammy out there in the yard getting some stuff done today if she knows what you need done.
Well, I'm probably going to take my Christmas lights down. Look a little gaudy, you know. Probably do that, but no.
It's this late in the year now.
Those giant inflatables, I mean, this time of year, most of them are putting up the Easter ones.
Yeah.
Continuing with the...
Just keep Santa Claus out there.
Santa Claus, huh?
They become Easter lights.
There you go. Change the color.
Change the little decorations in the yard and tell everybody they're your Easter lights.
See there?
4th of July.
That's Joel outside the box.
I like it. Cause
you're going to have to mow around that stuff. That's a problem.
Yeah.
Tammy mows. She can get it.
That's a problem.
Well, no, she's in Champaign today taking care of Jeff's kids because he's out in Portland.
Bringing in some new
recruiting.
Yeah.
Joel, you know all about Illinois basketball. And, I mean, it's basketball on the whole. It's just, it's a different team year in, year out. And it's not just Illinois. It's everybody. And everybody hitting that transfer portal. And I don't like it.
Yeah, I won't say it's ruined college basketball for me, but I had that discussion with myself a few days ago. I don't like what's going on at all. I guess even in high school, junior high even, I grew up following high school players all over Illinois. Like those guys in Chicago that played for Simeon when I was a kid, those guys were stars to me. I followed them all through high school. Like Lowell Hamilton was great.
Douglas Brothers.
Marcus Liberty. So when they came to Illinois, I had already been following them 4, 5, 6 years. I'm invested. Now they're at Illinois. I'm with them the whole way. And now it's like, okay, first of all, they switch high school. If you're any good, you're probably leaving your high school. Not around here, but up north or wherever, the big cities. So you lose that local connection to them. And then they may go to your school for a year, like an unnamed person that left Illinois recently. After I've been following Morez since he was a freshman when he basically said, I want to go to Illinois, wasting my time watching his games at high school on the weekends on ESPN when they were on. And then he's there a year. and there's no reason why he shouldn't come back. And now he's gone, and that's just like. Well, that was the one guy I didn't. Because I told myself, well, if he leaves, I'm done because I'm not doing this anymore. And he left, and I was like, all right, now that's what you said. Are you really done? But then he said some stupid stuff that really ticked me off, and I was like, you know what? Screw him. And then we got Ivicic's brother. Yeah. And so now it's vengeance against Merez for me.
Yeah, vengeance.
You talk in the mirror when you're talking to yourself, or you just sit alone?
Self?
No.
Have they picked up a few other guys too? It sounds like they have one of the higher. What would you call it? Recruiting classes? I mean, it's not. I guess it's not really a recruiting class, but it's transfer
it's like
class.
Roster building.
Class.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like they have one of the more impressive classes coming in of the NCAA's.
I don't know. They get the kid, that David Merkovich or something like that from
Serbia or something.
Over there,
yeah.
And 6'9". Saw a little bit of tape on him. Big, can shoot it. And like Joel said, they brought in Tommy's brother. So we have the Twin Towers, and it's. And you got Boswell returning, and that's good because
he is returning.
He's coming back.
I was confused on that.
Mm-hmm.
He's Brad's guy. He's not going anywhere. Okay. I'm sure they took care of him.
Why did he leave in the first place?
Arizona. Just
to get out.
Just venture out, and things aren't always greener. Luke Goody, he went to Indiana, and I think he regretted it. He was wanting to come back to Illinois. It's the grass isn't greener on the other side, but the paychecks are, and that's
a form of green.
That's what's ruining basketball.
But didn't you hear Merez got less money than Illinois gave him?
And going to Michigan, and that's
a step down in my opinion. Illinois basketball's ahead of Michigan right now.
Yeah, look what Michigan's done. They're going out and getting big. So Merez's playing time, he's going to have to fight for it.
I think so. His coach AAU growing up is Ty Streets, right? So he runs that Mean Streets AAU program. And guess who Ty Streets' best friend was? Well, you know this, but Tim Frazier, who was Illinois' assistant coach. Tim Frazier didn't come back this year, so you automatically worried about. Anderson.
Yeah.
And so he left for strange reasons we never really found out why. And so then Merez, I think, probably the AAU people got in his ear. Well, guess where Ty Streets, by the way, his mentor, went to college and played Michigan. And he went to the NFL playing football for Michigan, so he was a good dual sport athlete. And also he was on those Thornton high school teams that were really good back in the day. But anyway, so you can't tell me that just by coincidence he ends up at Michigan and Ty Streets is a Michigan guy. So I think losing Anderson kicked the door open. To that.
That was an Anderson guy, and and just like we lost some guys because the thing is, it's the recruiters like Chester Frazier. We lost Sincere Harris and Hansberry. Mm-hmm. That's who he recruited. They went out to the East Coast, and it's just.
I think they're all back in the portal.
Yeah.
All of them. Sincere Harris and Hansberry. They're all in the portal. I mean, it's just you're there for a year basically anymore.
Yeah, it's. And the thing is,
go there and stay.
Well,
pop here this year, pop there that is.
I guess if you're a kid that probably knows you're not going to the NBA, and if you can get an extra $100,000, then make your money while you can.
And you can't really blame the kids because it's presented to them, and they're kids, they're 18, 19, 20-year-olds.
Yeah.
And we're getting paid.
Think they should have to pay for their college education now since they're getting paid to play?
Well, that's a whole different story, but it's not going to happen. But, yeah, it's just, I don't know. The portal, they open it too soon. You got guys entering the portal, and there's, we're in the NCAA tournament.
That's unbelievable.
And not only do these coaches that are playing in the tournament, you have to recruit your own, but then these guys are hitting the portal, and you got to concentrate on filling your team for next year.
Who would make that decision? Because to me, that is just asinine. That we're going to open that up while people are still playing.
Yeah,
coaches are. They may have to change it because the coaches are.
It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Is it because of the seasons changing? Going from the winter sports to the spring sports. and given the.
No, I don't think so. I mean, because it's just bad. I mean, there's the portal opens on a certain day for basketball, football.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's and I think they need to have it at least a week after the tournament, if not 2. I mean.
Yeah, kind of like like baseball does. Yeah, and football. There's a moratorium when you get towards the championship. There's no news outside of that specific.
You can't
games.
even talk to players.
No.
You can't even contact them, and I think that
makes sense.
That's something that they're going to have to look at, and because these coaches are concentrating on winning the national championship, but they have to worry about
recruiting,
and but
maybe. But the only thing I can think of as a way to help control it would be like maybe say put a rule in that says you can transfer twice, but that's it. So you can end up playing for 3 schools in 4 years if you want, but you can't. You're not going to be 4 schools every 4 years because.
Well, yeah, it used to be if you wanted to transfer, you had to sit out a year.
Right. Now they could do that, but if you want to play immediately, you get 1 or 2 or whatever they decide.
We got Ty Rogers stayed. He redshirted last year, which he's a great kid, and he's dedicated to Illinois. He could have very easily went somewhere else.
Michigan State.
Yeah, but he worked on his game, as he redshirted. He's developed more. He's going to really help us on defense. We really could have used him last year on defense, but hopefully his shots developed. He's a slasher. He can get to the rim. He just has to work on his outside shot, and that's what Merez Johnson was a little upset about, is how he was utilized. He felt that he was more than a power dunker or an inside guy, and I don't know that he is.
Well, I would maybe once he left, if I was Brad, I'd call up Ty Streets and say, hey, so this kid's been with you since he was 12 years old. Did you guys ever think of developing a jump shot with him, or you just waited till he was already grown, got here, decided that you wanted to take a swipe at the program, and then left and got to Michigan, and now all of a sudden he's got to have a jump shot? Well, why didn't you develop that then?
Yeah.
Because he's not going to have a jump shot at Michigan next year.
That's what he did in high school. He was get to the rim, power, forward.
Well, the problem I had with it is, why take a shot at Kofi? That's what really pushed me to where I was like, all right, this is stupid, because
Well,
that was just unnecessary. Like, I don't want to end up at like Kofi Coburn. Well, last time I looked, they put his jersey up in their rafters, and it was right side up.
I was saying, was right side up. I remember that.
So they really liked him.
Yeah.
So,
and I think
he
Kofi
could be the next great star to have his jersey go up the right way.
Yeah, and Kofi probably regrets leaving Illinois. You know, and
for sure.
Then you got Will Riley and Kasparis Giacchionis. They're
who?
They're Kasparis.
What's his last name?
Hey, he's worked on this.
I'm going to tell you something.
I'm impressed.
You talk about a guy who's been working in the mirror a little bit. That's you. You threw that out there like
you're off the show preparation for just the names of the Illini players.
Listen, I wake up at 5 a.m., start researching.
Practice.
You've been up at 5 a.m. in your life.
Yeah, that's false.
I think I've got it down. It's KJ.
KJ.
Bang.
We can say
Got
KJ.
it.
He's predicted to go number 9 in the latest poll.
9.
And Will Riley is, top 20. And it'd be nice to have those two back, because Will Riley really stepped it up second part of the season. And
you're KJ.
Get your face.
I will.
Actually,
I love Will.
I feel like after the the Oregon game, he phoned it in for the rest of the year.
Who's that?
KJ.
Oh.
Am I wrong? Because after the Oregon game, which he was a star in, after that, I think he may have had a quick little injury there, but his turnovers went through the roof. The team did not look in sync for the majority of the rest of the year.
Well, look, he's an 18-year-old kid.
Absolutely.
Playing against 21, 22-year-olds.
Can you try again?
Try again.
Give it a shot.
Yeah.
I'm not against KJ coming back. I know this is crazy to say. Like, he's a top 10 pick. What do you mean? I just, by the end of the year, I was like, I've had enough of this guy, because he really, the Kentucky game was over. As you know, you were there 4 minutes into it, because of one person, and it was him. 4 turnovers, 4 minutes, game was over. Kentucky knew, all right, we can get this guy anytime we want now. And it was horrible. If he comes back, Brad has got to discipline these guys. I mean, that's my big problem with what's going on right now.
And that's tough to do.
With Brad is, against Kentucky, even after his 4th turnover, that guy was still on the floor, and I didn't see anybody talking to him. Will had a turnover, went right to the bench, got mouthed to. Boswell had one, went right to the bench, and I thought, okay, so now this guy gets 4 turnovers, and it's okay. These 2 guys who've been carrying your team the last month, because this guy has just been handing the ball away, they have to sit down, but he gets. I was just like, all right, now I get what's going on here. There's a double standard. KJ gets to do whatever he wants when he wants it, and we'll just keep starting him. No point in the year was he benched because of his turnovers. If that had been out here at the rec or at the high school or at any junior high, local coaches would have said, "We're going to sit down, son," or young lady, and every time you have a turnover, we're going to come sit down and we're going to have a talk. And then when you want to go back in, we'll let you play, but we're paying you millions of dollars to be here. You're just hook passing the ball to other teams for no reason. You're dribbling into traps at the corner as you cross the half-court line, which you stopped doing in junior high. It's obvious in Europe he was coddled and they didn't care about his defense. So if you're not going to hold the guy accountable, we can't have what happened this year. I would rather have a substitute point guard and he'd go play in the NBA or go somewhere else than come in and have to deal with 4 or 5 turnovers a game, because it just wrecked our offense this year.
Yeah, it wasn't pleasant to watch at times,
No.
but you know.
Kind of like a show.
Yeah. That's all the time.
Either that or make him a 2 guard, which if Will comes back, you don't want to do that. But
right.
We can't let Boswell be the point guard if he's going to be on the team. I just didn't care for the way. If they're going to coddle him and let him do what he wants, type of stuff, we can't. We're not going. You can't win like that.
No.
Period.
I felt like the games that we were winning down the stretch, Boswell was the point guard. I mean,
Yeah.
And he was. It was a direct result of him playing well that we won. Good passing and whatnot, and not turning the ball over. Cutting down the turnovers, that's the only time we could win. It was when we had our turnovers at a legitimate level for a team that can win. I mean, it looked awful. So
Well, they
awful.
took care of the ball. They were tough.
They were tough. Yeah. Good. I mean, the players obviously are very talented, but man, couldn't get them synced up very well.
Yeah, it's
Which is another problem with what you guys circling back to what we were saying. This transfer portal is making it tough. I mean, how do you get a team to be cohesive?
Right.
And that just goes on to what it was not this year, but the year before with the NCAA tournament. You had a whole bunch of teams with older players that had been playing together for a few years. All of a sudden, it's like, how's this number 14 team still in the top 16?
We look at the Final Four teams.
Yeah.
There was 3 experienced older teams, and then there was Duke. So it kind of played out as these older teams. In other words, you don't have to have 5 NBA 5-star freshmen to win this thing. In fact, you're probably not going to, as we found out. But if you've got great older players,
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, 3 of the 4 teams. I mean, Houston, they had guys that are like our age that are still eligible.
45.
Yeah, and they played, and they finally wore Duke
not
down.
your age, Joe.
I didn't like
our age.
I didn't like the call at the end of the game where he had that guy just bounce it and then jump in the air. I mean, you're gonna have to get a shot off.
Oh, where the double dribble thing?
Yeah, I mean,
He just bounced it and then started backing people away, and I was like, what is going on?
He'd have been better off grabbing that. At least the clock would have stopped, because he basically ran the clock out, holding people.
Yeah, he
away
was
from the
just
ball. If he'd
holding
grabbed
people
it,
back.
they would have had the ball, but they could have fouled and tried to make something.
Yeah, it was
out
like,
of it.
what could possibly go wrong? Well, there it is.
Well, it went
That guy
wrong.
jumped in the air and dropped the ball.
well, Houston at the start of the game were pretty dominant, and Florida they worked their way back into it. Houston lost some momentum, and Florida, your national champs.
And the Dukies go 10 minutes without scoring.
Yeah, they blew that one. Yeah. But it was a fun tournament.
Nobody could have predicted that.
No.
No.
Unless you listened to the show last week.
Oh, yeah? Lloyd?
He didn't predict a 10-minute drought.
Was Lloyd a little bitter?
No. I just.
Well, I mean, that was.
I wasn't on the bandwagon that everybody else was on it. We'll just say that. J-Mac might have called in. Also had some words about it.
Yeah.
J-Mac was like,
who is
really
also an expert in NCAA basketball.
He was Duke when he called in.
Yes, he was.
And it wasn't even going to be close.
Easy, he may call. And then we have problems.
That's what I'm goading for.
Yeah. Let's give you your phone number now in case you need tickets.
1-800-JMAC. If you need Ticketmaster, hookups, you get a hold of JMAC. And
a lot of sporting events coming up during the summer and concerts.
He'll get the tickets. He just won't
only
know
half.
where he put them.
Or half.
Yeah.
I thought going into it, that was the one thing I was worried about with Duke is just their inexperience. I had a hard time believing that basically all freshmen in Proctor were as good as Flag is. Because Houston is a terrible matchup for them because they're way more physical than Duke. They're stronger than Duke. They're better athletically. They've got positional length all over the court.
They have that.
And I thought going into the game, I was wondering if Alabama might get Duke, but to me, the key to beating Duke was shut Proctor down, not Flag. Because Flag's going to, if you're really great, you're going to do your thing. But remember early in the tournament, Proctor was hitting like 5-6 threes a game. Well, if you take him out of it, now all of a sudden people can pay a little bit more attention to Kneppel, make sure he's not going crazy, and let Flag do what he wants. But I thought a lot of what Duke was doing to teams was just out-rebounding them, and they were playing good defense, but Houston is just on another level. So I thought if they could at least control Proctor, they'd have a pretty good chance to win the game. And well, it didn't play out that way until about 5 minutes left in the game. But finally, I felt like they wore them down, and that was kind of the deal I had with St. John's. I thought they'd lose their first or second game because I just don't buy that in this day you can go from being terrible for 30 years and then the 1 year all of a sudden now you're a Final Four team. It doesn't work that way usually.
How do you put your best player on the bench and not play him last, I don't know,
well, I'll tell you what.
5-10 minutes. I don't know.
I'd like to find out.
Yeah.
Because that's what should have done with KJ. That's what should have happened to Kasparis is what Patino did to their number one player.
Yeah.
He should have went and sat and watched the end of the game.
And
period.
Maybe that's the way it needs to be. Maybe these college coaches need to look at it as if you're just going to be here 1 year anyway. I'm going to chew on you and do whatever I want to do because you're going to that portal. It doesn't matter whether I'm nice to you or I let you play or you do whatever. I'm going to have my way with this, and then you do what you want to do at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was Patino saying, fellas, I don't care who you are. This is who I am, and we're going to do things my way. Mm-hmm. And I'll lose this game if I have to, but you are not going to dictate when I play and who I play. And like I said, I mean to be repetitive, but that's the exact conversation that should have happened in Champaign about 3 months ago.
Is Patino still considered one of the top coaches in college basketball? Or is that kind of
have to be?
Because I mean, he's had a couple recruiting issues.
That's some issues.
You know what the deal is? He's only been caught.
Well,
the recruiting issues are everywhere.
And now it's legal.
And now it's just you walk up to him telling him how much you're going to give him. So
you remember though, it wasn't just recruiting issues that old Rick had a problem with. He had some issues going on away from the court, let's say.
Yeah. Well, he worked his way back up. I think he went from Louisville to Iona, and then was there another in between Iona and St. John's?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
I think tactically it was X's and O's and stuff. He's
right there.
Still got it, but I don't know that there's probably not a ton of programs that are just, and I'm not going to get into if you know what happened away from the court, you do, but there's a lot of programs that aren't going to take him just because of what had happened in his personal life, and they don't want that representing their school. So that's probably going to push away ever coming back to like a Big Ten or a top 10 type program. I would guess. And then, do we know back to the Illinois and the recruiting? So they're after one really, really, really good player still.
Sarr?
Yeah. Has
Sarr.
he made his decision yet?
Not yet. I think that's why they're out in Portland. He's out there. That David Merkovich is out there, and several others. It's a big deal out there, and all the top college coaches will be there. And yeah, he hasn't committed yet.
He would make it a great class, though.
Yeah.
He's I think he's France, right?
Yeah.
Like he's probably the top international prospect right now. So, and it wouldn't be a point guard, so we wouldn't have to worry about him giving the ball to the team every 5 plays.
Who's the kid from North Carolina that's looking?
Oh, I know. I saw that the other day.
He was on.
Yeah.
The rumor was Illinois was in the mix with him, and can't think of his name either.
Yeah, I know. I can't think of his name either, but I know you're talking about.
Well,
but I mean, it sounds like they're in the right circles of getting some of the top talent again this year.
And credit to the staff. You know, they do well in the portal. You know, and
they do good recruiting too.
They do good recruiting, and it's just a matter of keeping your guys. You know, it is what it is. That's college basketball, and it's not going anywhere.
Basketball, football, I mean, just about all the sports now. I mean, the kids are going wherever they feel like they're going to have a better life. So
$5 million wrestler out there now, that one kid.
Yeah.
Crazy how Bielema copped everybody. I mean,
and football has got to be even worse because you got, what, 52 guys that you're trying to – you know, fill a roster. And
I know Illinois football and Nebraska football did really well in keeping their guys from leaving. Nebraska had a few head to the portal because, to be honest, the guys they have coming in are probably the next starters. And they saw the writing on the wall, so they just head for the hills.
Yeah.
So I think Illinois had 5 guys that graded out as would have been definitely drafted this year. They not only did they get them all to not go to the draft, they got them to all come back to Illinois, which was
impressive.
Very impressive, especially considering like Akis and Scott would have been like top 3-round picks. So they must have got some good donors to come in and help keep everybody happy. But they're supposed to be pretty good next year. So I think they have 17 or 18 of their starters back.
Well, you know, I saw that the head of every conference is in Washington, D.C., trying to get help from Congress to regulate the spending on players so it's the same across the United States. I don't know how they're...
Let's keep Congress out of it.
Well, that's why, you know, you want to mess something up.
Yeah.
You have the federal government get involved.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, they want some of that money out of there.
Well, I don't understand it. It's the commissioners of the leagues seeking the help, which is I don't understand it. I don't know what the play is. Maybe trying to go around. It's not a players union, but I mean it's kind of like a players union they got going on. I don't know. Try to make some regulations. I think maybe to make it more equal between male and female sports. I mean,
yes,
yeah.
Not really sure exactly what the motivation is, but
there's a big change in the revenue sharing thing coming up, I think, where there's like a $22 million pool of money that's supposed to be equally distributed amongst your NIL athletes. And so I think what they're trying to do is say, okay, Alabama, you can't put 90% of it towards football. Illinois, you can't put 80% of it towards basketball, or whoever. You know what I mean? It's, you gotta spread it out over everybody. Now I have an idea though, maybe how we could, and maybe protect some American players. What if we put a tariff on foreign players? Like if you're coming, like Sarr from France, if we maybe like a 20% tariff on his NIL money, and then the school can recoup that money.
Boy, you're just opening up a can of worms there.
So you want less foreign players to come?
I'm protecting American jobs.
Yeah.
And the NIL.
You know what? That's true.
It's true.
That's why I ran, Jake. I ran on that platform. That's what I got to do.
Keep your promise.
I'll put I'll put a tariff on furniture if you don't watch it.
It is. There is a tariff on furniture. It's too late.
Darn.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Actually, I was on a phone call this week. Not side jumping, but I was on a phone call with some heads of state at one of my major manufacturers, and during the call, they had the heads of state from Vietnam on the call. They were en route to Washington D.C. and the good news came out of that 2 days later. It sounds like that it's basically going to have a deal worked out here in the next week to 2 weeks. So pretty good deal on our end because let me tell you, That is major because Vietnam probably in the furniture industry is a bigger deal than what China is in the furniture industry.
You speak Vietnamese?
I do not. Oh. They have a thing that it automatically. This company that I'm talking about, they don't lack for money, so they're the head of the class when it comes to everything involving furniture. So.
All right, well, let's take a commercial break. When we come back, we'll talk more here on the Cheap Seats on WLC 96.3 FM.
Whether you're buying or selling your home, the brokers of Me Realty will work with you to get the deal done. As one of Central Illinois' top producing offices for decades, Me Realty has the experience to guide you through the process. You want results? Call the brokers of Me Realty at 217-735-5424, stop by the office at 602 Keokuk Street in Lincoln, or check out local listings online at merealty.com. Full Gospel Evangelistic Center makes an impact locally and beyond through a wide range of events, ministries, and outreaches. Pastors Steve and Debbie Owens invite you to worship Sunday mornings at 10:30 and attend Wednesday night Bible studies at 6:30. Connect with FGEC online, follow them on Facebook, download their app, and visit their new website at myfgec.org with live YouTube video streams as well as recordings of services and special events. Full Gospel Evangelistic Center, 304 North McLean Street in Lincoln.
Culver's is a family restaurant. To me, that means being the place that puts a smile on everyone's face. We're famous for our cooked-to-order butter burgers and frozen custard made daily inside our restaurants. But we've always believed more menu options mean more ways to brighten your day. We source the finest chicken to bring you our tenders and chicken sandwiches. And our cheese curds. They're a Wisconsin tradition we're proud to share with you. So take the next meal shift off and let us take care of you. Welcome to Delicious.
Culver's, home of the Butterburger, 2530 Woodlawn Road in Lincoln.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Illinois. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the IHSA and the Illinois Athletic Directors Association.
the cheap seats.
Guns N' Roses.
WLCN 96.3 FM. We're going to transfer over from college basketball to NFL. NFL draft coming up here shortly. And, a lot of questions out there, especially for the Bears fans with the number 10 pick. It all comes down to the teams ahead of you, who you're going to be picking or trading back. Right now, you got Cam Ward, who's projected to go number 1 to Tennessee. We'll see if that happens or not. And then Shadur Sanders is another question mark. Are there any NFL teams that are looking for a quarterback and willing to take that risk? And that really plays in to where the Bears, they're looking at Genty from Boise State. Will he drop down to the Bears, or Will Campbell from LSU? How do you see this playing out, Joel? I'd ask Jake, but he doesn't really care.
Well, I have a hard time. Jake, do you need to respond?
He doesn't like NFL.
It's not that I don't like it. Go ahead.
So I think that...
Don't let him soapbox.
I have a hard time believing that Ben Johnson, if there's somebody that can make a difference with the ball in their hands sitting at that 10th pick, that they don't do that. So that would be Genty or... Warren out of the tight end from Penn State, Tyler Warren. There's a lot of similarities between what Genty brings to the offense and kind of like when they drafted Jahmyr Gibbs a few years ago, remember? Right. Just kind of out of the blue, like, wait, you just signed David Montgomery, and everybody was laughing at their draft class saying that was the dumbest thing. Well, it turned out they knew what they were doing because Jahmyr Gibbs is pretty good. So if he can find and DeAndre Swift, the Bears have, is definitely not Jahmyr Gibbs. So if they could find somebody that will excite him from the backfield, because he'll line up guys, wide receivers. He split Gibbs out wide a lot. Yeah. He'll throw the ball a lot. Genty can do all that. I'd be fine with Genty. I'd like Warren better, though.
Do you trade up?
If they trade up, if the only person I would trade up for if I was them, I would say would be Graham, the defensive tackle out of Michigan, to try to get ahead of Jacksonville because they seem really high on him, and I would be okay with that too. But I don't. If I was them, if anything, I'd probably trade down before I'd do that. They know what they want. I mean, Will Campbell from LSU, the offensive tackle, I'd be fine with him too. I could see him trading back maybe with somebody and picking up 2 picks in the first round.
Yeah, because I don't. What they've done on the offseason, signing all these free agent offensive linemen, I don't know that they would necessarily trade up for a lineman. It would have to be a skill position like Tyler Warren, tight end, or Genty at the running back, because there's this class is pretty deep, second, third round, where
running backs especially.
Yeah.
I read an article this morning. They said there could 32 running backs that could be drafted this year. That'd be the record.
And we all know from in the past, running backs typically don't go high in the draft. They kind of getting pushed down. But when you have an elite running back like Genty, you saw what Atlanta did with Bijan or Robinson. They went out and got him, and he's an elite running back, where in the past running backs were just come and go. You can plug them in here and there, but the Bears are in need of a running back. They're in need of some depth at the line for sure. But then we're concentrating on the offensive side of the ball and not the defensive side of the ball, where we could use another edge rusher, maybe a linebacker, and
definitely a defensive tackle.
Yeah, our secondary is kind of suspect right now, depending on the health of Brisker. He's been cleared to come back, so I don't know what direction they go. They have options. They've got several draft picks where you can move up, move back, what you want to do, but they've got a tough decision on them, and the focus is on them right now because it's not necessarily a rebuild season. They're here to be success from the get-go.
Well, the bird's nest, we're looking at
we're not even talking.
We're looking at the running back coming out of the draft with the best name. Who's that? Scataboo.
I wouldn't mind having Scataboo either. You know,
Scataboo's fun to watch.
Yeah,
fun little guy, great name.
Yeah, he's a player, and you know that's another option.
We'll still only win 3 or 4 games, but you know, it doesn't matter.
But you'll have Scataboo.
We're not going to change anything.
No.
You got Calais Campbell back now.
Calais is back.
That's all you needed.
It's right.
They might actually be pretty good this year. Better than, I mean, I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl, but they might creep up to 500.
The Cardinals?
Creep up to 500.
Jim, do we drug test on the show?
Come on, Joe. You're usually pretty positive.
I'm a big Red fan, but they prove to me every year they aren't. So, you know.
They're building some nice pieces on offense with the wide receiver. Got a great tight end, a quarterback.
They do have the wide receivers.
Seems to be.
And then you got a guy that can't see anything getting every snap. What's he doing?
Emmitt Smith.
Scrambling.
Yeah, I just can't get sold on him yet. But I'll root for him.
They might swap place with the 49ers because they're not going to have a team. The way things are going out there. They've cut just about everybody, and then they got to pay Purdy $50 million a year, which yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I would. If I were the Niners, I would trade up and go get a quarterback.
We got one.
You got one. Everybody has one.
Well, didn't you see? Isn't Flacco back?
Yeah,
Flacco's back. Isn't he like 65 years old?
Where was it at?
Cleveland.
Yeah,
re-signed in Cleveland yesterday.
They gave him a 1-year deal, $4 million.
So they have
$13 million of incentive or something.
At Cleveland, they have Deshaun. They have Flacco, and they signed somebody else,
Kenny Pickett, right?
Pickett. They got Pickett.
So, you know what they say when you've got no good quarterbacks, you've got no good quarterbacks.
You may as well have 3 of them. Right. You know, he's 41, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's 41, taking snaps and having animals run at him. They're in their 20s. You're crazy.
He's still got.
I like Flacco.
Got a good cannon on him.
Yeah.
Well, last year he was Indianapolis, and they tried to redo that same. They benched Richardson, remember, and put him in, and he didn't have quite that year that he did in Cleveland the year before that, where he got comeback player of the year or whatever. But he could still go in and win you a couple games if he had to. I'd be thrilled if he was the Bears' backup quarterback.
Do you think Sanders will get? Do you think Sanders is an NFL quarterback? See, but I didn't watch all the Colorado games and all this. I just think he gets a lot of, this plus because of who his dad is. But is he that guy that can come in and play quarterback in the NFL?
He's pretty athletic. Can throw it.
Well, we know he's athletic. Look at Deion.
I mean, somebody's going to take him. I don't know. I don't know he'll be a top 10 pick.
Cowboys go get him.
If he doesn't go like third to the Giants, he's probably going to slip out of the first round.
Yeah, for sure.
Because the thing this week I heard a couple.
It's a brutal place to go, New York.
Draft evaluators, and they specifically were talking about him and one other player. It was Genty was the other one. And what they said interesting to me about Shedeur is everybody talks about, he had 75% completion percentage. That's crazy, right?
Yes.
But then you look at it, and it turns out this scout was saying, but look at the numbers. Like 50% of those throws were at the line of scrimmage or behind it. So we got to remember what we're talking about here. He's not throwing 25-yard passes a game that are counting. I mean, not that anything wrong with what he's doing, but you're going to have to find an NFL offense that's more, let's utilize the backs out of the backfield, tight ends on slants, wide receivers, a lot of screens. That's what they ran a lot, catch and go, throw the ball to the running back. But he's not. He does have a nice deep ball, but I don't think that you're not going to turn him loose like he's Joe Burrow.
I don't think he's
and say throw it 60 times a game, because it might take him 60 throws to get to 300 yards if you're throwing 2 yards at a time.
Would you rather have him or Murray?
I guess we may as well have 2 of them if we're going to have 2 bad ones, right?
What if Deion came with him as the coach?
Perfect.
You'd have a cowboy hat on next Saturday on this show right here.
Yeah.
Always been a Cowboy fan.
Always been a Cowboy
fan. There you go. Yeah. And the thing about Genty that was interesting is this is the first person I heard that was not a big fan. They said, go look at what he did against the really good teams they played. Now, he did have a nice game against Oregon early in the year. But they said the rest of the times when they played like really good competition, he was just average. And the fact that he still hasn't and refuses to get clocked in the 40-yard dash. They have no idea really how fast he is, other than what you see on game tape, because he didn't run at the combine. He won't run at his private workouts.
I didn't know that.
So people are like, well, wait, there's only the evaluator was saying there's only one reason you don't do that in my mind. Because if you could run out and run a 4.34, you'd go do it. But if you want to go run a 4.6, then you're not going to be drafted in the top 10 anymore. So, and if he doesn't have to, I wouldn't do it either if I was him. But that changes things because is he really Jahmyr Gibbs? Because I could tell at Alabama, Jahmyr Gibbs was fast. Now, I don't remember seeing Genty get caught from behind a lot, but that's fair to say they didn't play the toughest schedule, and he ran up numbers.
Oh, they didn't play the toughest schedule for sure.
But I think he had 170 against Oregon. They were number 1 and undefeated until they weren't.
Yeah.
Until Ohio State said, "Nah, we're not doing that again."
I think they're overrated every year.
Who's that?
Oregon.
Hey, come on now. That's my second team.
I root for Oregon. Yeah,
Sounds like it.
That's one of Joe's top 8 teams.
Yeah.
I forgot. Yeah.
Tell you what, smarty pants. There's an Oregon flag flying there at that house. So there you go.
Top 8.
Top 8.
Yes.
I'd say they're top 3.
Oh.
Maybe top.
Football-wise.
And uniforms, number 1.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Oh, yeah. May as well just, yeah.
So who would you take if you're the Bears? Not Genty, or if you could, or it sounds like you'd like to trade up and get him, right?
Genty, if he's there. I like Tyler Warren too. Because he can do several things. From that tight end position, but. I don't know. It just all depends how the draft unfolds. You never know until the draft starts where, your game plan changes as picks are being made. But I would like to have Genty. Also, I think you can get some serviceable linemen, 2nd, 3rd round. I don't know. But
I think they need a defensive tackle. I know they got Grady Jarrett, but he's a little bit older. And if they could somehow get up and get Mason Graham or Walter Nolan, who's the DT out of Ole Miss, who's kind of going up the draft board, I'd be okay with that. But I don't know that I would move back to get Nolan. But if they feel good enough about Graham,
if you have Dennis Allen in your ear, a very good defensive coordinator. He's wanting to draft on his side of the ball too. So, it'd be nice just to sit in the back of the room of that draft room and just see, how Ben Johnson and Dennis Allen are in Ryan Poles' ear. Hey, we need this guy. But
I think Ben Johnson's making the pick. I think Ryan Poles he's the GM by title, but he's not choosing stuff anymore.
Yeah.
He's worried about the salary cap, and I feel like the day Johnson took the job, that was the end of Poles making decisions as far as who we're picking, because I'm sure Johnson said, if I come here and you're going to stay, I get the tiebreaker on who we take, or I'm not coming here. Because if I was him, I'd have been like, it's pretty obvious by your record the last few years, you guys aren't really getting it done. So I'm not going to come here and be told I have to take this person. I'm going to tell you right now, I need Ashton Genty to run this offense, and you're going to go get him, and that's the way it's going to be, or I'll have you fired. And I do think he has that much power in the building now.
I agree.
And if he doesn't, then that's a mistake by the Bears. He should have the power, because
I was going to say
Poles hasn't really demonstrated a good ability to.
If you look at the Bears' history with head coaches, not a single one of them had that kind of power.
No.
Maybe Ditka. Towards the end,
I don't even know about that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But also, you couldn't have told me 5 years ago you could envision them paying a guy $13 million a year to be the coach. True. They would go get goofs like Eberflus and say,
Jerron.
As long as by year 3 you got a better hairdo and you got a nice beard and you're dressed ridiculous.
Matt Nagy.
I mean, you're saying that, but at the same time, that's the range where you're getting the top prospects as your head coach now. I mean, it's not like, wow, they're way overpaying for this guy now. They're kind of paying what the other places are paying. Maybe they're just offering a couple extra incentives to get him there. I mean, he's not way out of the realm of where a coach should be paid.
No.
So
that's what, if you want that guy as your coach, that's what it costs. Yeah. So, I mean, I'd take my hat off to him for doing that, because if I had to pick a coach, it would have been him for sure.
Yeah.
Just based on the fact that we're a team with a young QB, that's who I'd want.
Well, who wouldn't want a track star from the 1980s? I'm a big fan.
I know a guy that's played 4 or 5 years in the NFL as a quarterback, and he told me you would be very surprised at how much a lot of NFL coaches don't know, because he said you're a good old boy system. You're in places, and you got there thanks to someone else that helped you get there. And as you move on up and get to different positions, all of a sudden now you got those people saying, hey, you know what, help Scott Kirby out, help Joel Vincent out. So you're grabbing a couple of guys that didn't qualify for the job, really, but you owe favors, so you put them on your staff. And he said he would go to places where the quarterback's coach would look at him and go, hey, how do you do this? How do you do that? And he was like, well, you're the coach. But they wouldn't know any more than him. And he said, you'd be surprised how many head coaches aren't really that great of a football mind because
we've seen
they just went right up on into things.
I think we saw that last year for 18 weeks.
Yeah, time management is one of them. That's pretty important.
But we all assume if you're there, you're good.
Well, and that's one thing Ben Johnson didn't do. He didn't go out and bring in his guys. Dennis Allen isn't that one of his guys. Right. He went out and got the best available guys. As your offensive coordinator, your quarterback's coach. It wasn't his inner circle. He went out and brought these guys in. So that good for him for doing that. And you want the best coaches available, and that's what he did. I think. We'll
and he said it. He said, I purposely went and got people that I'm not comfortable with. Yeah. And then he also told Caleb and DJ Moore and the offensive guys, I don't care what you guys did. You better get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Caleb, you're going under center. We're not doing the shotgun 80% of the time. I've never been under center. I don't care. You're going to be under center. I'm the coach. Go do what I say. That's big change from Eberflus. We should have known the Bears are in trouble during Hard Knocks when half the content was about that goofball getting a haircut and his clothes and how his wife had redone their house and the beard. And then we had to find out he's got a barber shop in his house. It's supposed to be a Hard Knocks. Where's the football? And looking back on it, it's like, we should have known. Like, this is the best we got, is this guy getting his hair slicked back?
Some directors over there going, hey, you know what, hang on, let's get away from the football side and let's go with this.
And it was probably like this. These guys are terrible. Do something with the coach. We can't show the football.
Don't get that out there.
Or the Bears might have stepped in and said, don't show the football.
These guys went right out to Vegas and bet them.
Matt's got a brand new white suit he wants to wear.
Yeah, Hard Knocks, that was horrible. Horrible. I watched it, but it wasn't a Hard Knocks. It was more of a sitcom.
Yeah, it's not like it used to be.
It's a sitcom. It's more like the MTV things where everybody lives in the same house.
Yeah.
Yeah. The real world.
Yeah.
The Bears may have ruined Hard Knocks.
Yeah. Well, then right before they did in-season one. Now they had the Giants, and remember they caught the Giants people running their mouths about how the GM or the owner, one of the two, was like, we're not paying Saquon Barkley money. If he thinks he can go somewhere and get that money, then he can go. And Philadelphia said, okay,
we might give him a shot.
And so now the Giants are left with an egg on their face again because the guy that 2,000-yard season in the Super Bowl, they just let him walk out the door.
I got to tell you, Sanders, I don't think his dad would let him go to a team in New York. That's the worst place to go, man.
They're not good this year. Daboll's going to get fired, and he may just slide right into that head coaching job.
And his son at quarterback.
There you go. Because he says the only way he'd coach in the NFL is if his son was the quarterback of that team. Well,
there you go.
There you go.
That'd be interesting.
Can you imagine him in New York? Oh my gosh, him in the media.
Oh, media's brutal too.
Yeah, but he'll give it right back.
Yeah, he's the right guy for it.
That would be fun. Hey, you know what? Let's do that. Just give us something to watch in case the Bears are bad again.
I'd like for it to happen. That'd be fun.
Where's Aaron Rodgers? Is he done?
Minnesota, right?
Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Minnesota.
Is that done?
Well, Minnesota, the only team actively negotiating with him, as far as I have heard the last few days, is Pittsburgh. Minnesota said, we're not interested. We're going to just go with McCarthy or bring somebody else in. So he's done with them. And that really just leaves the Giants. And they just brought in They brought in Jameis Winston and signed Russell Wilson. So he's not going there. So Pittsburgh is like, and it's surprising because Mike Tomlin says the other day, well, we'll wait. We're not in any hurry. And I think of Pittsburgh. Tomlin's right. What's his famous thing? He always says, I want volunteers, not hostages on this team. So usually, if you're not 100% with them, hit the road. And this is the first time I've ever seen the Pittsburgh Steelers as an organization be like, well, we'll wait and see. But they really don't have any other choices either.
The Bears' old quarterback that went there.
Oh, Justin Fields?
He went to the Jets. Yeah, Jets.
Gave him $30 million guaranteed.
No, well, and that was the worry for the Bears. It's like, why do we get a guy that might get us to the first round of the playoffs and have to give him, they were thinking $50 million, I think, at the time. Which, if they would have made the playoffs, maybe he would.
He might be successful there. I mean, look at the Jets quarterbacks in the past. They've hit and, swung and missed. And, we'll see.
Another best player, in my opinion, probably Garrett Wilson. Yeah. Says he wants out. Yeah, but and they're talking about trading Breece Hall before the draft.
They just signed Garrett. They just signed, was it Miles? Garrett Miles. The defensive end.
He's with
Cleveland. Yeah, he wanted out.
Yep.
And then, throw some money at you. All right, I'll stay.
Yeah, he wanted to be in a winning culture until they said, well, how about $160 million? And he's like, I can win with that. I think I'm winning.
Yeah. You're winning.
Let me look at my SFQ account. Oh, I'm winning.
Yeah. That's funny stuff. So then I guess it all comes down to this. Draft pick or not, doesn't matter. Scotty, 12 wins this year?
Oh, yeah, easy.
14, I'm pretty sure he's
at least
on.
I'm 13 and... Yeah, we're
13 good draft, 12 not.
You're betting the over on 13, right?
No.
First round playoffs, win the division.
Yeah.
And
league MVP, coach of the year.
All the above, yeah.
Good. Joel?
I'll say best scenario would be like 11-6, but I would say probably like 9-8, 10-7.
I was just gonna say.
The only thing is, this year I do think Detroit is going to have some problems because they lost all their coordinators, and that's hard to replace. And nothing against Dan Campbell. I don't think he's the X's and O's for offense or defense. He's a head coach.
Yep.
And not that he doesn't know. He plays tight end in the NFL. He knows what he's doing. But I think losing Henry and losing Johnson is going to hurt them for a year. Now that doesn't mean bad for them. Next year might be 10 wins. But I also think Green Bay's kind of interesting. Jordan Love didn't have the best year last year, and they still don't have any wide receivers. And Minnesota is going to be starting J.J. McCarthy. So this may be a year where you could jump up with 10 wins and contend.
Here come the Bears. You heard it here first.
Always get excited. And then about week 4, not so much.
I'd say...
It was week 2 last year. Whatever.
I'd say they'll finish 3rd in the division again.
We're not too far away from fantasy drafts. Around the corner.
When is the NFL draft? Has to be, next weekend?
Yeah, the 20-something.
Yeah. All right.
Is it?
Yeah. I think it might be next
Thursday.
Yeah. No, wait. It's
like a 4-day deal.
2 weeks.
I was talking to somebody that's going. They said they were leaving Thursday night and going Friday and coming back. So.
Where's that?
Green Bay. Yeah, that'd be Brett.
Yeah.
Brett's going.
Oh, that's right. He's taking a bus or something.
No, that fell through. Didn't get enough signed up.
Yeah.
So I think him and his brother are going to drive up. And
that's cool. Packer fan, and that's where it is. That's awesome.
They don't typically have the draft on Easter weekend.
It's true. Might be the next weekend then.
I was thinking it was the following weekend, but
could be last weekend in April. That sounds right.
It's probably out on the internet.
Real quick, I know we're getting close to the end of the show. Shout out to my niece Cecily, running her first marathon out in the hills of the Blue Mountains, or the what do they call it, the boot of the Blue Mountains? I don't even know. But anyway, she's out there running a big marathon out there, and currently she's in the top half of the women's division and 280th overall, so out of 500 roughly. So
first marathon
ever. Yeah.
She was a bet or something.
Her and a couple other cheer teammates are out there running for are supporting the School of Liberty there, and hopefully she finishes strong and does well. Got her on an app.
Nice.
That's kind of cool.
It's real cool.
April 24th is the draft.
April 24th, 2 weeks.
And did you help train? Did you help her train for this marathon?
Oh, yeah. I said, listen, I'm going to eat this. Don't eat that.
Well,
stay away from these foods.
He's more of an Iron Man.
Everything that I eat, stay away from. Yeah.
Yeah, he likes to swim, bike, and run.
Yeah, Iron Man.
If I swim, I would be like an Iron Man. I'd sink to the bottom.
You're a floater.
No, I'm not sure I would be.
I don't think you can doggy paddle in the Ironman.
I don't think I could doggy paddle for more than 100 feet or so, and then I'd sink. Somebody throw that man a life vest.
I'm out.
To be true.
Well, speaking of being out, it's 10:01. Unfortunately, this show has to come to an end. But Joel, thanks for coming in today. I mean, we actually talked some sports.
Thanks for having me.
It's nice.
Awkward for our listeners.
Yeah. What is this? Where is the nonsense? All right, that's going to do it for us today on the Cheap Seats. We'll talk to you next week.
Good day.
This live video stream is made possible in part by WLCN's live stream technology sponsor, Me Realty, located at 602 Keokuk Street in Lincoln, and online at merealty.com. The preceding program is a presentation of WLCN 96.3 FM and WLCNonline.com.